go. I'm going to add myself there. Hey, everyone. I'm Darcy, if we haven't met, and I decided to go live today because something jumped out at me and I wanted to share it with all of you. Um, I have been working on living an authentic life because I hear this from my clients a lot, right? I just want to live authentically. And so what does that mean? That can mean anything or can mean different things to different people. So I took a deep dive for myself and it actually brought me into a place of reflection. And I remember, I just want to share a quick story because just all builds up to authenticity and other things that come along with this. So I remember being in college. I think I was 20, I was probably 24, 25, something like that. And I had this insane anxiety. And I thought, well, if I could just pretend everything's okay, I can make that anxiety go away and I can talk myself into believing that I'm okay. But the anxiety was actually telling me something. So instead of turning toward it and kind of getting curious and investigating what was going on, I decided to cover it up and to mask it over. And so I would look around and I would kind of assess the people around me. And I'd be like, okay, who looks like they're winning at life right now? And and I would take those characteristics and I would layer them on myself and I would kind of try them on and use them as a way to get me through a situation. Now, it kind of worked. But not all the way because my anxiety never really went away. That was the key to me to say, wait a minute, something else is off here. And so after, I don't know, a year of, and I honestly, I did this longer than that. I just didn't know I was doing it. But I made the choice at that point to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try on these different personalities and see if they can get me through. I don't want to be myself. I don't want anybody to see me because I'm clearly a mess with all this anxiety. And I got tired of it and it got worse and it got worse. And it became a crushing, debilitating aspect of what I was dealing with in my life at the time. And I thought, well, summer break came up and I'm like, I'm going to go and I'm going to hop in my car and I'm going to drive cross country because I want to know who I am without this institution, without my friend group, without my professors. I wanted to strip it all away and I wanted to know who I was. So in that moment, without me naming what was going on, I decided to take all the masks off. And when I hit the road and I drove cross country, I decided I'm going to be 100% me. And I'm going to see what happens because I'm going to drive through one town after another. I'm going to go to one park after another. I'm going to meet people and I'm just going to show up and be myself 100%. I'm going to see what happens. Am I going to be rejected? Are people going to think I'm weird? I don't know what, right? Well, it turned out that I had the most authentic, amazing interactions with people over a 2-month period because I was in California and I drove out almost all the way to the East Coast, didn't quite make it, and then drove back. And that was my first experience of understanding for myself that I am actually okay. That in my most truest, stripped down, authentic self, I was the most accepted and loved on and connected person that I had ever experienced in my skin, right? So that was a huge wake-up call for me. And it was a long journey because what I did when I stripped away those masks, I became me. And then when I got back to my campus and I dove back into school, those masks quickly started to layer on again because they're safe. And the other thing that those masks are doing when we're in places where we're more vulnerable, I had nothing to lose on the road, right? So that experiment for myself. But when we do actually have something at risk, that's when our internal wounds, our insecurities, all of these things start to come up. So when I went back to school, all of that came back. And I recognized that I didn't want to live behind these masks anymore. So I had to understand and learn for myself, who am I, no matter what? No matter what the situation, and how can I live authentically so that I can fully live into my gifts, my passions, my calling, basically, because I know deep down we all have something to offer. And when we step away from it and we do something else because it's safe, we are going to be living out of alignment. And that's when we start getting these signals. We can get sick easier. We can have anxiety. Your energy might be low. You might be distracted. Another thing, procrastination, big, right? All these things will happen when we're not living in our alignment. But here's the thing, and this is where I want to emphasize that it's just not like a decision that you make one day. I'm going to live without the masks because sometimes they serve a purpose, right? So we don't want to throw everything out, but to know when you're making the choice. And the thing about removing the masks and choosing to show up in your authentic way, that is going to bring up levels of discomfort. Because it's going to be new, your nervous system is going to react, right? The mind says, whoa, whoa, this is not safe, my friend. We know from years of experience that people don't want us to be 100% ourselves, right? We get it from like before we can even remember in our childhood, this stuff is happening, right? We're being shaped and formed, and this is how you behave, and this is how you don't behave, and this is what you like, and this is what you don't like, all that kind of stuff. So when we start stepping into our true selves, stepping into what we really want, I just wanted to check to make sure things were going well. I lost my thought. Oh, because that the nervous system is going to let you know that you're not safe when you step into your authenticity. So you're going to feel discomfort, right? It's risky. And so we have to build the capacity to hold a level of discomfort, recognizing when it gets to be too much, and also recognizing when you can step in a little bit and practice building that muscle, right? So it's practice. So if there's a situation at work where there may be a potential conflict and the go-to reaction is, well, I'm just going to behave how my boss wants me to because that's safe. So I'm going to dim my light. I'm not going to express myself, and I'll still keep my job. That may be the way to go at the time. But I have had experiences where I did come in kind of with this solid internal core sense of who I am and what's right for me, and in a very kind and respectful way, expressing myself. And I've done this in several professional situations. And it depends on the situation. Sometimes it actually built up a stronger relationship. If someone's feeling a little defensive, maybe it doesn't go so well. But the thing is, it's not about them. It's about you stepping into what you know you want to do and be in that moment. And that really is the most important thing. And this applies with family. This applies up to friends, how we show up, for those of us who run our own businesses, how we show up in our own business, and really honoring what it is we want to move towards, what's most important for us, and what are those masks that get in the way. And we can also talk about those as blocks. So what's blocking us? And usually it's something that feels scary, something that feels uncertain. So how we step into that and how we kind of reframe the opportunity that's in front of us and get curious. Because here's where, and I'm going to wrap it up here in just a minute, but here's where we start getting into trouble is we predict how people are going to feel about us, think about us, and react. And honestly, here's the trick. That is not our business, right? That is not our job to monitor and predict and worry about other people, because that's their job. Your job is to work with what you've got and to step into your truth. And when you do that, what they do is totally up to them. And it's their job to manage themselves. It's not our job to manage them. And that was a tough one. I'm a recovering people pleaser, so I totally get this. And when I recognized that I was taking someone else's opportunity away to grow, it shifted everything for me because it wasn't about me anymore. I mean, in a way it is, because I want to be in myself, but I'm not going to manage the rest of the world out there so that I can be comfortable. I'm going to manage myself so I can be comfortable and a little uncomfortable at the same time, because that's growth. We want growth, always growth. So I just wanted to, I was inspired today. I had this big aha, so I wanted to share it with you. And also to let you know that I dive into this work with my clients, and I wanted to be able to give people a taste tester of this. So I'm hosting an event at the end of April. It's actually the 22nd and 23rd. And I walk us through a very kind of it's a process, right? So I walk us through a process of identifying different things, like what's most important to you, what's getting in the way. But I just don't ask you these questions. We actually run through some really, really fun exercises to reveal what's going on, because I take us out of the thinking mind, right? Like we can think our way into probably not very productive spaces, especially if we're feeling like we're kind of spinning our wheels or locked into something that doesn't, how do I get out of this? I'm going to think my way out of it. And it's really challenging. So I take us out of that really kind of thinking mind and drop down into kind of a deeper place in our knowing, in our wisdom. And by the end of the workshop, you are going to be really clear about what's the most important thing to you right now, and your values, which I kind of, to me, that's your North Star, right? So I'm always moving towards my North Star. And I love to tell people, if every decision I make, if it's not moving towards my North Star, then I really have to question if that's the thing I need to be doing in the moment. So, and then we talk about what's happening in your life right now. What are the things that should be maybe removed, like pulling the weeds out of the garden type of thing. And how do you actually put this into action when you have these, I don't know, kind of awarenesses that come to you? So I give you those next 3 steps at the end of the workshop. So I'm really excited about this. It's free. It's, and it's all it is good stuff. So I just want to thank you for joining me for this live and taking some time to maybe even reflect on what are the masks that you put on, what are they protecting, and how do you really want to show up in your most authentic way in your life. All right, be well, my friends.